You are the first dark-skinned girl that I talk to, but I'm just making an exception. Why would someone say that?
You don't know you're different until someone tells you you're different.
You think you're all that because you're light-skinned?
It hurts more when it comes from your own.
I've been called a lot of different names relating to my skin color. I always find it fascinating when people think they're complimenting me while they're really not.
If I had a little girl, I just don't want her to be dark, just to protect her.
The color-struck class war has played out in families, neighborhoods, social clubs, churches, and nearly every conceivable part of our society. A profound irony that the attractiveness rating is enhanced by the whiteness of hair, skin color, and facial features. Sadly, this rating system still persists, with terms such as yellow-boned, Oreo, or even dark dindy, which supposedly defines the standards of beauty.
I realized I was light-skinned when I was much younger. I saw in the way that my family treated me differently from my other cousins, and how they would respond to me and the kind of names they would call me, which weren't necessarily derogatory, just like umlungu or things like that, that were it kind of set me apart in that way, that I knew that something was different. And I have an older sister who's darker than me, so people would always comment and say stuff like, your sister's so light-skinned. And I didn't think that it was a thing, but people would always, make it a thing. So I knew very early on, because it was always in proximity to my sister. And that's when I knew that, okay, being light-skinned is something that I realized later on is very problematic.
This stigma, described as colorism, ideally stems from the Eurocentric beauty ideals that date back to colonial times. These aesthetics are seen as the standard, and therefore are more palatable and desirable by the world as a whole.
Colonialism and slavery definitely, tried to break the black people down, in the sense that even within ourselves as marginalized people, they sort of created this idea that, beyond racism, and racism is the ultimate oppression, I think. Within racism, there's almost a racism within black people themselves, where, for instance, like I'm thinking of apartheid now with the pencil test, where if your hair was curly and they put a pen through it, or a pencil, and it fell out, or it meant that you could assimilate into the white population, you could assimilate into white culture. And the opposite being, if your hair was hard, or like grus, as they call it, you would have to be classified as a black person, and that's something that people didn't want. So for a long time, I think being darker, or being associated with more of the super being black, was a negative thing. And I think it's something that the colonizers knew, and they did it in a way where it's like, listen, these people are oppressed, they can join together at any point in time, but let's create this division.
The media are no exception. They sell this desire to the world.
The dark skin, light skin thing is, it's real, I see it in my colleagues, I see it in my peers. I've got friends that sell the creams, I've got friends that use the creams, I've got colleagues that have gone through the process. So it is real. People are rati damage for short-term results, because for fame or money or love, you shouldn't have to change. You shouldn't have to damage yourself.
Colorism perpetuates stereotypes that lighter-skinned people are better off than those who are darker. It's used by those with a superiority complex. The color complex is very dangerous, as dark-skinned women go as far as bleaching their skin in order to have a fair color, like Kwaito Storm Shoza. But the musician says she blames the media for misrepresenting her.
Women these days change their skin color because of, I'd say, two things. The media is selling the fact that white is beautiful than black. White matters according to the media. And secondly, men out there. But also I think even men out there crying out loud for yellow bones is because of what's been sold, instilled in them, what's being pushed out there, you know, and the fact that when you have a yellow bone as a girlfriend, then you're the thing. I mean, obviously, if the media keeps pushing that, people will start believing it. As much as the media pushed the fact that shows us light in the skin, they were not aware that they were actually pushing other people to go do it. They were advertising it, which I didn't want to do. I've got a dark-skinned girl, and she's going to grow up wanting to lighten her skin because of what the media is selling, yellow bone, this yellow bone, that they're promoting this yellow bone thing. And I just feel it's unfair.
In my view, I don't really care, you know. It's what works for you. If bleaching works for you, so be it. You know, it's your God-given right to do yourself however you want. But now for now, I would say God has made you perfect as you are and as you're supposed to be. And you're possibly going to create yourself some kind of financial maintenance that you now have to have that you didn't have before in your previous life, before bleaching. But, you know, really.
It makes me angry to hear that other people can get jobs. People don't feel important now because they're not light-skinned. Obviously, they will go and bleach their skin. So if you're going to try and if you're going to diss the creams and talk about how dangerous they are, first start with the problem. The problem is stop pushing the yellow bones with the media, because you guys the media has all the power, truly speaking. So if they can stop pushing this yellow bone thing, then maybe our kids will stop going to buy this skin lightening products, because they're dangerous, honestly.
Given the choice to go a few shades lighter, which way would almost every person of color in South Africa go?
A lot of debates surrounding whether or not a person should darken their reasons, whatever it may be, are valid for them. But personally, for myself, I feel I wouldn't.
My skin is who I am, so changing it doesn't really make any difference, and it's not gonna make people perceive me different or make me feel different about myself. So dark skin I am, all the way.
Many people are more attracted to lighter skinned people.
It's right here.
I like light-skinned girls because I believe that they don't have to puff so much compared to dark-skinned girls, and also to think of children, you know, they will be light because I'm not that dark as much, so I'd prefer for someone who's light as well.
Light-skinned girls? Well, cause why? I'm dark-skinned, so you know it's gotta be a mix there. Can't both be dark. It's just.
I prefer light. Because I think I'm gonna get beautiful babes. Yeah, exactly.
At the core of it is it's racist. It's racist and it's white supremacist, and we have to all unlearn. And I can even say that because I'm also operating from a place of privilege to say, well, as a light-skinned person, this is how I'm facing the world. It's true, it is a place of privilege, but also it's another side of misogynoir, right? We're saying we're being lauded by black men who hate themselves, who hate how they look, and they're saying that girls that look like me, who are lighter or mixed race or have light eyes and curly hair, are the epitome, but their parents, their mothers and their sisters don't look like that. So not only are they self-loathing, they are also, it's also the other side of misogyny. So I think a lot of the time when you're looking at it from a different perspective, it's easy to say, well, light-skinned girls are the peak, right? You're but of what? Of men who are self-loathing anyway. So it's still disgusting. It's still unsatisfactory. It's not better. It's a different kind of just ugliness and nastiness.
I wouldn't be lighter than my color, no. And basically, I feel like I was born this way. It's in me, so I don't think I need to change who I am. I have no reason other than that. This is just me.
I wouldn't be, because light skin get damaged really easily, and you can get different shades of that. But instead, with darker skin, you can be dark. Even if the sun burns you, you're dark.
If I had to be darker or lighter, I wouldn't choose any of the shades because I love my skin color. And I love my skin color because I get like approaches from photographers and stuff, you know, as a model. My skin color is selling.
Beauty standards are definitely a warped thing. They're very westernized or Eurocentric, and I do know that a few of the dark-skinned women that are in my life always complaining about the fact that, listen, no, oh, she's only pretty because she's light-skinned. I'm so much prettier, but because I'm dark, they don't see it. And
many dark-skinned women go through a lot of harsh experiences, scarring how they perceive themselves.
Well, if I were to speak, I mean, my experience, it started when I was very small. From the beginning, as a child, I had this view that I was ugly because I was darker, because of the way or the way that my lighter friends were being received around me. As a 6 or 7 year old, I could already see that there was something wrong with me, and up until now, I'm 30 years old, and I still have this thing of there could still be something wrong with me if at the moment I don't have hair, I have cheesecloth. That's how I look. That's my look, and I've always been that way, and I've never wanted to look like anybody else. But I only became more confident now as I grew older, realizing that being different is better, and standing out is better than trying to fit in and being like everybody else. And I've never been light in my life, but even to this day, at work, everywhere I go, being light is seen as being better, being more beautiful. But I know for a fact, and if I can tell any other dark person out there, that everywhere I go, I'm admired for being dark and having no hair and so being gorgeous. And so I just want to basically root on and say to especially the younger generation that it has nothing to do with the color of your skin. It has everything to do with who you see yourself to be and who you want to be and what you want to represent. So I'm very proud to be dark-skinned, no hair, fuller-figured.
The whole idea of whiteness being sort of juxtaposed on society. Skin lightening has got nothing to do with that. The same question I can pose is, why do people who've got bigger bodies go on way less, lose their body fat? Does that have a certain impact on them changing the profile of who they are? And if it does it necessarily change who they are? No, it doesn't. Lightening your skin is the same as putting weave in your hair. It's the same as putting contacts into your eyes. It's the same as going to a dermatologist and saying, I don't want pimples on my face anymore. It's a personal preference, and it's associated with whatever it is that your idea of beauty is.
There's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen on both ends, definitely. But at the core of it is the fact that white people have created a system where we're never going to win. It's always in relation to them, and the closer we are to them, the closer we are to this nastiness that is internalized racism, prejudice, etc. So that's ugly as well. But then because whiteness works in such an insidious way, we are perpetuating these things on behalf of them, where people don't even need to be in the room for somebody to say somebody's pretty because they're light-skinned. You know, that's the insidiousness of whiteness, that it's so pervasive in our culture that we don't even realize that we are now the mouthpiece of racism.
I think the concept of color came as something that I learned about when I left the house or when we were at school, and not necessarily by the book, this is what light skin is and this is what dark skin is, but you'd sort of pick up on the fact that people preferred, I don't know, yellow bones, for instance. I mean, a name like that, which some girls who were necessarily yellow bone would like hold with pride. And I think subconsciously, without even realizing it, we perpetuated these ideas ourselves, that darker skin is less desirable than lighter skin. Even within our own family groups, at family gatherings, you have your super dark cousins and your super light skin cousins.
The need for a light skin in South Africa has become a phenomenon where our country now has a yellow bone factory. South Africa has now become a country where dark-skinned people are steadily depigmented, washing away all their socially constructed and mercilessly imposed embarrassment. Despite concerns over skin problems, there are many facts concerning skin bleaching. Firstly, it's a practice that has been gaining popularity for the past decade, not only in Africa but also in America and various other countries. More than 35% of women in South Africa bleach their skin. Nigerians are the biggest users of bleaching agents, while 77% of Nigerian women use the products on a regular basis. Dermatologists are seeing growing numbers of health risks. Skin problems like burns, skin damage, acronosis, and blood cancer.
In my research and in my experience, the idea that skin lightening is a new phenomenon is ridiculous. Do you think that Cleopatra was bathing in baths of goat milk because it smelled good? Hell no, goat milk smells horrible. And it does nothing else for your skin but lighten it. So being fair is not something that is a political statement, is not something that is new, is not something that is born out of social norms that arise at the moment. It's just an idea that I think is historic, and people, not just women, people across generations have just associated with looking good and feeling good.
I just think our perception of what is beautiful needs to be widened, or we need to be more open-minded, because bana ba ipolaya ka di anorexia, le di bulimia, le di slimming pills, and etc., and bleaching themselves, trying to fit into one kind of beautiful.
Mali, Nigeria, Senegal, and South Africa use skin bleaching products on a regular basis. Nearly 40% of women surveyed in China, Malaysia, and the Philippines. While in India, 61% of the dermatological markets consists of skin lightening products. Skin lightening products are manufactured in many countries, and mercury-containing skin lightening products are available for sale over the internet. The real understanding of skin tones dates back centuries. As early humans moved around, the big challenge was keeping cool in hot environments. Since strong sun exposure damages the body, the solution was to evolve skin that was permanently dark, so as to protect against the sun's more damaging rays. It's known as melanin, the skin brown pigment.
The most common side effect we see is side effect from topical steroids, where they get thinning of the skin, redness, rash, they get pimples, they get hair, they get infections, you know, lots of damage to the skin. The skin becomes thin and extremely sensitive to anything. And then they get darker because they are light and the skin is affected. It's more prone to more skin problems that would further darken it.
You shouldn't have to damage yourself, you know, and I believe skin lightening is you're damaging yourself, because now you can't be in the sun. You can't enjoy life the same way you could before. But if you can maintain it, hey, so be it.
One of the reasons I developed this skin condition is because I'm diabetic. I also have other issues. But now, injecting and doing all of these things, some of the stuff they're using help me when it comes to the conditions that I have.
Most of the ones that want to be light, maybe they already know that I would refuse, are those that have skin problems that make them dark. So those ones have to be treated. But someone who just wants to be light because of preference, we don't entertain.
It's not healthy. It's not good for the body. I would never advise for one person to go lightening their skin. It's not safe. It's dangerous, and it can give you more problems than you think. If you think you're trying to eliminate problems by bleaching, you will have more problems after a few years. Trust me. So if you can stop it now, try to stop it.
Recently, many women have started embracing their identity and their skin tone. One is the Unfair and Lovely campaign and the Word to the Woman series, created by Palesa Hassane. She features women of all sizes, shapes and colors, aimed at educating people that beauty has no boundaries.
It's important to represent people in terms of size, in terms of sexuality, in terms of the light skin, dark skin, and it just shows you that beauty comes in different forms, and there isn't one way of being a beautiful, strong black woman. We don't have to prescribe to the standards that the world gives us, and I think by creating the series that I created, it was sort of just to be like, yo, listen, we are all so different, but we are all so beautiful. And, you know, turning the lens on black women is something that is revolutionary in itself, because there isn't visibility. Our voices aren't heard as much as they should be. So I created that to sort of show people and inspire other black women to do the same, and to definitely start making people think about the way we accept beauty standards and the things that we find beautiful, why we find them beautiful. Is it because she has straight hair? Is it because she has blue eyes? What's wrong with an afro? What's wrong with being a little thick? What's wrong with being dark? We are imperfect as a people, but I think beauty comes in all ranges, and I definitely think that black beauty is something to be celebrated in all its forms, and that's why I created this series.
Mulemo Khomo is another individual who created the Ntombentle dolls, which in Zulu means beautiful girl. Khomo's goal was to provide little girls with a play doll, which they can see themselves in, and therefore start the process of redefining the definition of beauty in South African girls.
I created the dolls because I felt there was a need. I couldn't find the doll at the time when I started them in 2005. A doll that I liked, that looked pretty, a doll that I wanted my child to play with, a doll that a doll that I felt she could look at and sort of identify herself to the doll, and that's how I came up with the Ntombentle dolls. I just couldn't find anything that was presentable, that I liked.
I think growing up in a black household, the first thing I think about when I think of what we thought beautiful was the fact that our Barbie dolls were white and they had blonde hair and they were skinny and blue eyes. So obviously I think even that in some way like sort of built our idea of what we thought was beautiful, even down to what we watched on TV. A lot of the shows obviously had a sort of Western approach. Even if it was the kids shows, a lot of the characters would be these white women or these light-skinned women with curly hair. And I think when we looked at that, when we wanted to aspire to something, it was definitely more on the side of either wanting to be like the woman who's blonde with blue eyes or the super light-skinned woman with the afro.
It really just is giving knowledge to the kids and letting them understand and let it be and let them be okay with it. Because once they understand why they are a certain way, why their hair is a certain way, why they learn to appreciate themselves.
Colorism has long relegated dark-skinned women to lesser status, but the true liberation and definitions of beauty will only be achieved with the decolonization of the mind.